I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, January the 25th, brought to you in part by Vitalix. Vitalix is a convenient and economical source of energy to help get your cattle through the cold. Vitalix is a big sponsor of the feeder flash, and I will be at booth number 1917 in New Orleans at CattleCon Trade Show, Friday, February the 3rd at 11 o'clock a.m. You guys come by and visit with me if you get a chance. And get the blue tub. Go to Vitalix.com. Where were we? It seemed like just towards the tail end of last week, all the bullishness had gone out of the market. We were down. We had that dismal fat cattle trade that had hardly any movement last week, and we lost $2 for the most part on live sales, as much as $3 on our dress sales. Nobody wanted to do anything. The board couldn't find any support. Feeder cattle were dropping like a rock, and even calves were going down. Well, now all of a sudden we got to the middle part of this week, and we picked up right where we were a week and a half ago. We're going right along. Impressive loads of 800-pound steers are back to bringing 180 routinely, both in the southern plains and in the northern plains. That light trade that we had last week, which it was dismal, and I criticized it a lot, but it's put your cattle feeders right back in charge, and they've got the leverage going forward this week to get what we lost last week back, at least for sure steady, if not gaining a buck or two here and there. But things are going pretty good. We went right through that cattle on feed report that indeed had bearish numbers on it, but the average of the analyst guess predictions were so aggressive that we got through it pretty close, and it's been a bull. The board's been pretty supportive this week, and continued to do that on Tuesday. And now we're starting to get ready for next Tuesday's January 31st cattle inventory report, which we expect is going to be a big boon for the cattle market. So we'll see what goes on there. People are going to be kind of figuring in the bullishness that we expect to see on the cattle inventory report into the board here for the balance of this week, and we're getting along pretty darn good here. But let's talk about your board on Tuesday. February live cattle futures up 37 cents at 157.85. That is quite a bit of a premium to what we've seen cash last week on that small trade of under 50,000 in your 5-area feeding region. April live cattle up 75 cents at 161.30. That's the big news there, that we're seeing some strength in it. Back months on live cattle up 15 cents to up 55. Feeder cattle for January down 22 cents at 178.95, but corn was up big, even bigger than what it was down on Monday. March feeder cattle, though, up 32 cents at 183.60. Your back months were pretty quiet on your feeder cattle, from unchanged to down just 27 cents. But like I said, March corn was up 10 3/4 cents, so gained back everything it lost on Monday. Closing regular trading at $6.77 a bushel. March beans down 1 3/4 cents at 14.88.5. Fat cattle trade on a direct basis has not really begun yet. We did see somebody in Iowa sell some cattle at 155. They had to have been carrying an extreme amount of tag or mud on them to take that kind of price. They were quoted in your highest choice grading section, so they were good cattle. They were just carrying a lot of tag, and your packers don't even want to give live bids in the Midwest and the Northern Plains because the cattle are so muddy and dirty, and the dressing percentage is so bad on them. They want to buy everything on a dress basis, and of course they took that market down last week. But we just feel like we knew on Monday that we had at least one packer in the Southern Plains scrambling for cattle. By the time we get in here today on Wednesday, we're going to see more packers scrambling for cattle, And then if the cattle feeders, the few that sell negotiated, will use their head and use this leverage and take this chance to get the market back to where it was, and then we'll just consider this last deal just a speed bump and we'll keep right on going. Yankton, South Dakota, Stockman's livestock market had a pretty good fat cattle sale on Tuesday. 2,800 head. Conventional cattle, that's what they call the cattle, just the fat cattle, no bells and whistles, no programs on them. 154 to 157 and a half. Your non-implanted and drug-free cattle sold from 157 to 161, but Greg Reichen told me that it was all about the mud they were carrying. If the cattle were good and fat and fairly clean, they brought a big price. If they were carrying a lot of mud, that they penalized them pretty heavily there, and then we're seeing that in the direct trade too. Box beef cutout values were lower, and they just continue lower. Choice cuts $269.64 on Tuesday afternoon, down $1.80. Selects down $2.10 at $250.239. Your slaughter 251,000 through the first 2 days of the week. That was down 2,000 from the previous week, up 12,000 from the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. I mentioned to you once, this is going to be a continuing deal, the Punchy Pick of the Month. If you guys get a Punchy Pick just in your regular daily activities, just shoot that picture to Punchy at nationalbeefwire.com. We've gotten several already. We've been looking through them. It's a lot of fun. We've got some that we're looking at, but we're going to award the winner at the end of every month, and you're going to get a prize package. This Punchy Pick of the Month is sponsored by Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver Feed there in Beaver, Oklahoma, and Farapiece. Farapiece is a revolutionary product that's hitting this industry, guys, and I'm proud to be telling you guys about it, and in many cases probably the first one to tell you about it. It's a product that minimizes stress in cattle. Uses the pheromones. You apply this product to the pole and the muzzle of your cattle, especially calves. It lasts for 14 days. It calms them down. Naturally calms them down. There's no withdrawal. There's no residue. You don't have to have a script to get it. If you are the winner of the Punchy Pick of the Month, we're going to send you a case of it, including, on top of that, we're going to send you a bunch of swag from Beaver County Stockyards and Beaver Feed. So it's a pretty nice prize package, because that Farapiece case is worth $1,440. And it's a new product. You'll get to try it out. Works good when you're weaning calves, if you're moving calves, you're going to work calves, all the way to sending those cattle into the packer. It calms them down and almost eliminates any dark cutters. It's an amazing, amazing product. But to check it out, go to Feraah.com. That's FERAAH.com. Talk about your feeder cattle markets, real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Tuesday, based on an 800-pound cash steer, setting at 176.34 and climbing up 67 cents compared to the end of Monday's trade. So we're gaining things back on your feeder cattle. Seeing some big prices again in the northern plains. Going to give you a bunch of them. Talk about all the stuff that's going on. I'm going to be in South Dakota the rest of this week. Hope to be at the Mitchell Livestock Marketing Sale Barn there. See my buddies there. And then later on Thursday, I'm going to be at Ralph's Beef Day in Freeman, South Dakota. Hope you guys are planning on going to that if you're close by, but that's going to be a fun event. So looking forward to a trip up to South Dakota this week. Talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri. Only 1,500 head, guys. I had a light run in Joplin. West of there, Ozarks only had 1,500. That's a light run for them. Of course, they were getting and expecting more wintry weather, and it's pretty muddy around there. They had another 150 head through their in-house video that they do almost every week, but the market was better. Calves, steers, and heifers sold steady to $4 higher and talked to Dan Hill. He said the demand outweighed supply. There was a lot of buyers in there coming in there looking for calves to warm up for grass, and there was more of them than there was calves, and so the market was pretty darn good on them. So we're expecting that to continue as the weather clears up. Your Zoetis stick-out sale of the day was Atkinson Livestock Market in Atkinson, Nebraska. The old reliable right there on the yellow brick road. They had 3,500 head of feeders there on Tuesday. The market was outstanding. You look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. You look at your best tested weights. They had 363 head of 5-weight steers in Atkinson on Tuesday. They averaged 555 pounds with a weighted average price of $216.22. 761 head of 6-weight steers averaged $651 with a weighted average price on all of them of $201.75. 744 head of 7-weight steer calves in Atkinson, Nebraska averaged $753 with a weighted average price on all of them of $183.06. Very impressive. Look at some heifers. How about 433 head of 5-weight heifer calves averaged $553, weighted average price $190.61, and 436 head of 6-weight heifer calves averaged $652, weighted average price on all of them $179.62. Going to give you several individual quotes from all around the country. How about one that we don't talk about very often, but they're out west and they got moisture out there, and evidently they're also aggressive for feeder cattle. Producers Livestock in Salina, Utah sells 65 feeder steers weighed 810 pounds at $179.35. Wow. How about Winter Livestock, La Junta, Colorado? John Campbell's birthday. Wish him a happy birthday. We miss him. How about 80 steer calves weigh 634 in La Junta? Bring 206.50 on Tuesday. Big time quote. Lone Star Stockyards out here at Wildorado, Texas. They're gaining and gaining all the time. Bill Martin's doing a good job with them. They had a light run through the sale barn on Tuesday, but they had an in-house video, nearly 1,000 head for the in-house video there. It included 6 loads of 800-pound steers that come from out here at Stratford for early March delivery. 6 loads, 800 pounds, 180. Ouch, that's pretty big. How about 2 loads of NHTC and GAP certified all-black steers for early March delivery from Sunray, Texas, to weigh 8 1/4 at 194. My goodness. But the most impressive quote that I saw in a brick and mortar sale barn all over the country on Tuesday, your Mackerson no BS top quote for the day, come out of Alma Livestock Auction in Alma, Nebraska. My friend Terry Kalk sold them. They were the Kalk Brothers steers. They're active with that sale. That's a producer-owned sale barn there in Alma. They are a DV Auction customer. You can view and bid their sale every week. But the Kalk Brothers steers, 140 of them weigh $779 at $191. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.